Do you love sun-dried tomatoes, but not the price the grocery stores want to charge you for it? If that's you, then you're not going to want to miss today's video. Hi, welcome to my home. My name is Kathy, and if you like videos on baking and canning and gardening and food preservation, then you're in the right place. So please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon to be notified each time I put out a new video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make homemade sun-dried tomatoes that are packed full of flavor and can be used in almost any dish. So let's get started. So what I have here are some cherry tomatoes that I dehydrated from last year's garden. I'll put a link to the video up in the iCards and then also down in the description. So what you're going to want to do is start with some very hard, very dry tomatoes. Whether they be cherry tomatoes or Roma tomatoes, any type of tomatoes that you have dried. You can dry them in the dehydrator like I did with these. You can also dry them in your oven, or if you live in a very dry, sunny place, you can even dry them outside if you're fine with doing that. So first what we need to do is make these tomatoes a little bit soft and more leathery and pliable. So how we're going to do that is over here on the stove. In this pot I have 2 cups of water and 1 cup of white vinegar. So what I'm going to do is boil these tomatoes for 2 minutes, and that should get them nice and soft and pliable. I'm going to work the tomatoes in batches so that I make sure I have plenty of room in the pot so that all of them can get nice and soft. I'm placing the tomatoes on a towel that's on a rack so that they can cool off and dry out, because I want them to be dry before I pack them into the jars. And you might be asking why I boiled them if I want them dry. Well, boiling them will make them pliable, because I don't want them so dry that they're going to break a tooth when you bite into it. So that's why we boil them, just to make them pliable. Once they cool off and re-dry out, they'll be much more flexible so that they won't be that hard, crunchy tomato. So now that I have my tomatoes softened in the vinegar water, in addition to softening the tomatoes, the vinegar will also help preserve the tomatoes in the oil. So next step is going to be to pack our jars. In this bowl here I have oregano, thyme, and basil. I have a teaspoon of each. I'll be using dried herbs to flavor my jars. And then I also have some garlic slivers that have been dehydrated. These were from my garden last year. If you use all dry ingredients, then your jars after being packed will last on the shelf for a few months. If you use fresh herbs or garlic or anything fresh in the jars, then you'd want to put those in the refrigerator and use those within a few weeks, because the fresh ingredients aren't going to last in the oil. like the dried ingredients will. So let's get to packing. First, I'm going to add in some tomatoes. Sprinkle with some herbs. Throw in some garlic. And then repeat until my jar is full. You don't want to pack them too tightly because once we put the oil in, we want the oil to get down in there. Just going to break these up a little bit. I like a lot of garlic, so I don't mind having the big pieces in there. And we'll just top it off with a layer of a little more seasoning. Okay, that one's done. Now for the next. I'm using these quilted jars just because I think they're so pretty. And I think if you use pretty jars, that way if you happen to give these away as a gift, they'll not only look good on your shelf, but they'll look good on the gift recipient's shelf as well. Okay, now the next step is to fill these with oil. Okay, so next I'm going to fill the jars with warm extra virgin olive oil. It is not hot, it's just warm. And the reason I'm using warm is so that the heat from the oil can help those dry herbs infuse the tomatoes. I'll just fill each of the jars. You just want to make sure that the oil is covering the tomatoes. Looks like I'm going to need a little bit more oil. That's all right. I'm going to just put my debubbler down in the oil because I want to make sure the oil gets in and around all of the tomatoes. That oil is going to help preserve those tomatoes. So you want to make sure you have all of the air bubbles out. How pretty are those? Goodness gracious. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get some more oil so I can get that last one filled up. Okay, so here we have 3 jars of sun-dried tomatoes in herb and garlic. Now I will let these sit on my shelf for a few weeks before I open them up, but these will last on my pantry shelf for several months. Well, I hope you liked today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified each time I put out a new video. Well, until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye now.